Hi, Mirna Djukic pour Radio-Canada, CBC. About the firearms, most of them are from the United States. Do you know if they were acquired initially legally?
The firearms were obtained illegally. All firearms in the U.S. that were seized were obtained illegally.
My name is Chief Superintendent Paul Mackey, and I'm the commander of the Ontario Provincial Police Organized Crime Enforcement Bureau. This includes the OPP-led Provincial Weapons Enforcement Unit, otherwise known as PEW. It's my pleasure to be here for today's important announcement.
Before you, you see just some of what could have been circulating in communities across Ontario. A significant seizure of dangerous and illegal firearms. Illegal firearms like these are used in violent crimes such as robberies, carjackings, home invasions, intimidation, extortion, and homicides. Some of the firearms you see before you were in the hands of offenders previously convicted of violent offenses and subjected to lifetime firearms prohibitions. They have been charged accordingly and are currently detained in custody. Not only do firearms pose a substantial danger to the public, they also pose an imminent risk to the safety of our officers. The success of this complex, multi-jurisdictional, and transnational investigation is a result of well-established partnerships and the cumulative efforts of dedicated and highly skilled investigators. I am grateful to all of the involved law enforcement personnel from the OPP-led Joint Forces Provincial Weapons Enforcement Unit, the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and U.S. Homeland Security investigations for their expertise and unwavering commitment to public safety. This seizure reinforces the benefit of law enforcement agencies working seamlessly and collaboratively, regardless of jurisdiction, to identify and apprehend those responsible for crimes that threaten our safety, our security, and our quality of life. This is especially critical when investigating offenders who are attempting to smuggle illegal firearms across the border from the United States into Canada. Today, Ontario is safer because of these collective efforts. Thank you.
This investigation, dubbed Project Saxom, resulted in the seizure of 274 illegal firearms, 106 of which were seized in Ontario. What makes this investigation particularly alarming is not just the quantity of guns, but also the types of weapons seized. This is the largest seizure of handguns and assault-style rifles in the history of this province. Some of the firearms seized are weapons that have been modified to fire several rounds with a single pull of the trigger. Many of these guns were seized along with extended firearm magazines. I am proud of the work that was done to seize the illegal firearms and illicit drugs that you see before you here today. I would also like to recognize the efforts of Detective Inspector Fulford, who is the case manager for Project Saxom. To everyone who played a role in bringing these accused to justice, I would like to personally express my appreciation. As a result of the collaborative efforts of the Provincial Weapons Enforcement Unit, Homeland Security Investigations, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, 279 charges have been laid. We will continue to work seamlessly with municipal, provincial, international, and national partners to target those trafficking in illegal firearms.
In early 2023, HSI and PEW commenced an investigation into 2 individuals who were seeking to traffic firearms in the Greater Toronto Area. Project Saxom was initiated by PEW in Ontario with support from HSI and the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, otherwise known as the ATF. In the fall of 2023, Project Dual Approach commenced in the United States, led by the HSI Border Enforcement Security Task Force in Buffalo, and was supported by HSI in Miami, PEW, and the ATF. The focus of Project Saxom was to infiltrate a group of individuals who were seeking to traffic firearms in the Greater Toronto Area. As the investigation progressed, additional suspects belonging to several criminal networks were identified. Evidence was gathered in relation to the trafficking of illegal firearms by 5 distinct criminal networks. In addition to trafficking firearms, Pew discovered that several of the accused were also trafficking illicit drugs. Leading up to the execution of the search warrants, officers were able to seize a total of 23 kilograms of methamphetamine and 1 kilogram of fentanyl. The kilogram of fentanyl had a concentration or purity of 77%. Fentanyl of this high a concentration is not a common seizure. Pure forms of substances allow drug traffickers to mix illicit drugs with other substances. Doing this, which is commonly referred to as cutting the drugs, lowers the concentration or purity of the fentanyl. But in doing so, there's an increase in the volume of the fentanyl, which increases profits. For example, the 1 kilogram of 77% pure fentanyl could be cut to make 6 kilograms of street-ready fentanyl. This produces more street-level doses, which therefore increases profits in the amount of fentanyl that the street-level drug trafficker can sell. 1 kilogram of street fentanyl could be equivalent to 10,000 potentially lethal doses based on the common street dose being a point, which is 1/10 of a gram. In this case, the fentanyl seized would have been equivalent to 60 to 70,000 street-level doses. This nexus between guns and drugs came as no surprise to our investigative team. Profit-motivated criminals are often responsible for many different types of crimes, and OPP officers routinely seize illegal firearms as a result of drug trafficking investigations. Illegal firearms are treated both as a commodity and also as a tool to broaden and secure drug trafficking networks. They are often used for intimidation, assault, and other violent crimes, including homicides. In Ontario, Pew executed 17 search warrants at locations in the GTA and Niagara region on February 13th and February 14th, 2024. Project Saxom resulted in the seizure of a total of 106 illegal firearms, some of which were loaded. The seized items include 88 illegal handguns, including restricted and prohibited handguns, and AK-47 style and AR-15 style prohibited pistols. They are also known as AK or AR pistols. This also includes 2 restricted handguns that had been fully converted to fire automatic rounds. There was 18 long guns, which includes non-restricted, restricted, and prohibited rifles, and 1 shotgun. There were 118 prohibited devices. This includes 1 silencer, 1 conducted energy weapon, 20 brass knuckles, 22 prohibited knives, and 74 prohibited firearms magazines. One of the magazines shown here is considered a drum magazine. It contains over 50 rounds of ammunition. And other overcapacity magazines that have the ability to hold between 1 and 31 rounds of ammunition. There was approximately 1,700 rounds of ammunition seized, 23 kilograms of methamphetamine, more than 1 kilogram of high-potency fentanyl, 688 suspected fentanyl pills, 1.3 kilograms of suspected cocaine, 197 grams of suspected heroin, 877 prescription opioid pills, 280 grams of suspected psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms, 432 grams of an unknown substance, $63,000 in Canadian currency, and approximately $5,000 in United States currency. The majority of these seized illegal firearms originated from the United States. What was alarming was the speed at which the firearms would be resold after entering the province. Our investigation revealed that the firearm suppliers would obtain lists of available firearms for sale. Within days or even sometimes hours, all of the illegal firearms would be sold. The potential street value of the illicit drugs and illegal firearms seized in Ontario is approximately $3.25 million. This investigation resulted in 16 arrests in Ontario. Eric Robinson, 35 of St. Catharines, is currently wanted in connection with this investigation. In total, Pew has laid 279 charges under the Criminal Code and Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. 6 of the accused are subject to lifetime firearms prohibition bans. 1 of the accused was on full parole. One was on a statutory release. The efforts made by Pew and our U.S. partners make me very proud to stand here today. I would like to thank the 12 police services that are part of Pew, including the Akwesasne Mohawk Police Service, Cornwall Police Service, Durham Regional Police Service, Hamilton Police Service, Kingston Police Service, London Police Service, Niagara Regional Police Service, Ottawa Police Service, Peel Regional Police, the Sûreté de Quebec, Windsor Police Service, and New York Regional Police. In particular, I would like to thank the members of Durham Regional Police Service, Hamilton Police Service, Niagara Regional Police Service, York Regional Police Service, and Peel Regional Police, whose members played an integral role in this investigation. Because of your dedication and resilience, we have been able to strengthen the borders and curb the deadly supply of drugs and weapons entering our communities. The results of this investigation are truly commendable, and we could not have done it without you. Thank you.
I'm Matthew Scarpino, the Special Agent in charge of the United States Homeland Security Investigations, Buffalo, New York Field Office. Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, is the primary investigative arm of the Department of Homeland Security, responsible for investigating transnational criminal organizations exploiting the borders of the United States and enforcing over 400 federal criminal statutes. Homeland Security Investigations workforce consists of over 10,000 employees, including 7,000 special agents assigned to offices throughout the United States and around the world. Within the United States, Homeland Security Investigations has offices in over 220 cities. Globally, HSI has 200 special agents assigned to 93 international offices in 56 countries, 5 of which are here in Canada, those being Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. The HSI Buffalo area of responsibility consists of 7 offices throughout New York State, spans 716 kilometers across the shared border of the United States and Canada, encompasses 4 of the most heavily traveled border crossings between our countries. Today, it is my pleasure to be here with our Canadian law enforcement partners from the Ontario Provincial Police to announce the significant case results of this ongoing firearms trafficking probe. The successful results are part of a joint investigation into a transnational criminal organization operating between the United States and Canada. The criminal network sought to establish a firearms smuggling pipeline from the United States, specifically Florida, into Ontario, Canada, utilizing international ports of entry in the Buffalo-Niagara region. Through this investigation, HSI Buffalo, the OPP, and our law enforcement partners disrupted this criminal network and prevented a significant quantity of legally obtained firearms from entering the province of Ontario. As part of this investigation, between December of 2023 and February 2024, HSI Buffalo, in coordination with the OPP, conducted several undercover operations with Jeshua Lyon Myers, a citizen of Canada and the United States. He's also known by the alias Dooley. During these interactions, Myers stated to undercover agents that he would travel to Florida to acquire firearms for the purpose of smuggling the weapons into Canada. On December 20th, 2023, HSI Buffalo coordinated a controlled purchase of 19 firearms from Myers in the Western New York area. Additional undercover activity resulted in multiple enforcement operations in the United States and led to the collective seizure of approximately 168 firearms that were ultimately destined for Canada. Photos of those weapons are on display to your left, my right. On February 13th, 2024, Jeshua Myers was subsequently arrested by HSI special agents in Miami, Florida, pursuant to a United States federal arrest warrant issued in the Western District of New York, charging him with violations of Title 18 United States Code, Section 933, trafficking in firearms, a crime punishable by imprisonment of up to 15 years. Myers is being prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Western District of New York under the direction of the United States Attorney Trini E. Ross. The investigation in the United States was conducted by the Homeland Security Investigations Buffalo Border Enforcement Security Task Force, otherwise known as BEST. BEST is comprised of numerous law enforcement partners from the United States and Canada, which OPP is a member of and has been since it was established in 2008. BEST utilizes a full range of international law enforcement resources to identify, disrupt, and dismantle transnational criminal organizations that exploit our shared border. Through BEST, HSI will remain dedicated to working shoulder to shoulder with our Canadian law enforcement partners to combat the most serious criminal organizations that threaten our communities. Again, I'm pleased to join the Ontario Provincial Police to announce the results of this investigation. And while these results are significant, I'd like to highlight that they are achieved due to the coordination and collaboration between the agencies here today. Thank you.
Can you tell us more about these networks, how they operate, and how were they in contact with each other?
There were 5 distinct networks. They were operating independently, so we were able to infiltrate each group separately. They consisted of multiple people per group that were involved in either firearms trafficking specifically or firearms and drug trafficking.
Are you confident, like, do you think you took down the entire networks, or how much of these networks are still operating here in Canada or in the US?
So through our investigation, those 5 networks that we infiltrated, we are very confident that we have disrupted those groups. There are obviously in the province a lot more groups that are involved in illicit drug trafficking and firearms trafficking.
All right, and another question about the firearms. You mentioned most of them are from the United States. Do you know if they were acquired initially legally in the United States, or how, what's kind of the chain of custody, if I can call it that way?
Do you want to answer the beginning of that?
The firearms were obtained illegally. All firearms in the US that were seized were obtained illegally.